Strong opposition from many students led to a mass protest on campus as the University of Birmingham announces the proposed closure of the Institute of Archaeology and Antiquity. Unable to fill the student quota due to strict grade requirements, have the Coalition's education policies had a detrimental effect on course admissions here at the university?
In sport this week, I'll be bringing you all the latest scores, highlights from hockey and also sport focus on Jiu-jitsu.
With deep cuts being made by the Coalition government to education, the Institute of Archaeology and Antiquity here at the university faces courses being cut from the degree programme and up to 17 staff losing their jobs. Unsurprisingly, this decision has been met by strong opposition from students. GIL-TV's Kristen Peters-Roebuck reports.
It's a well-known fact that our country has hit hard times financially, with significant job losses in the public sector and cuts to university spending.
With this year's introduction of higher tuition fees, it may come as a surprise to some that our Institute for Archaeology and Antiquity is facing closure and cuts to the archaeology degree programme. These proposals, a result of a review earlier this year, have met strong opposition from students across many departments, with a 1,846-strong petition calling for no compulsory redundancies and a continued existence of the archaeology department and degree, to be delivered to Vice-Chancellor David Eastwood at today's Save the IAA rally. GIL-TV have come along to find out what they think.
Well, my opinions are that we're not getting either what we signed up for or what we paid £3,000 to £9,000 a year for, and that saddens me because I could have gone somewhere else. But it makes me angry that there's future students and students now who are being ripped off for something they're told they're going to get and that they're not.
So it affects second years, it's going to affect first years, it's going to affect prospective students who aren't even here yet and have probably applied to a department that now doesn't exist. And it's just really unfair. Like, it's so disrespectful to the staff that have worked here for 30 years, some of them, and they could just lose their job.
Here with the IAA we are looking at an extremely successful department with members of staff, academics who have delivered throughout the years exceptionally good quality research. There are other ways to improve recruitment of students, there are other ways to reorganize the place, so let's look for these other ways instead of rushing a process through cutting jobs and basically affecting the student experience.
There is, however, the prospect of a new centre for archaeological studies within the School of History and Cultures to coordinate archaeological activity at Birmingham. Earlier we spoke to Simon First to find out his take on the matter.
We should be sort of preserving, like, academia, like education. University should be like an area for different disciplines. Universities should be trying to preserve this as much as possible. And I think one of the things that's most outrageous in this is their attempt to sort of mislead students, the public, and to try and manage the impact of their image in the face of these massive cuts.
The proposals are due to insufficient student numbers, a result of the current ABB entry requirements, and would see the institute split up between various different departments. It is yet to be decided whether the proposed cuts to the Institute of Archaeology and Antiquity will go ahead, but today's protest has ensured the voice of these students has been heard. This is Kirsten Peters-Roebuck for Leading Stories.
Earlier, we spoke to the University of Birmingham about this issue. Here's what they had to say. Following a 6-month review and extensive staff, student and stakeholder consultations, the university has decided to establish a new integrated department of classics and ancient history and a new centre for archaeological studies, which along with the Ironbridge Institute will replace the standalone Institute of Archaeology and Antiquity. The university expects the centre will have 9 or 10 archaeology professors/lecturers, compared to the current 13 staff. The university will also withdraw from its activities in contract archaeology because it can no longer compete with commercial providers. It is anticipated that there will be 8 job losses as a result of all these changes. The university is clearly not abandoning archaeology. In fact, the establishment of a specific centre for archaeological studies will bring a greater focus for the various aspects of archaeological activity at Birmingham. As a first-year student, many may have noticed lecture halls appearing sparse in numbers this year, potentially because strict AAB A-level requirements set by the Russell Group have led to course availability through clearing. GIL-TV's Jack Garnett reports.
Being part of the prestigious Russell Group of the UK's top universities has long been a point of pride for many University of Birmingham students. But is being part of this coalition now holding us back? The AAB A-level grade requirement adopted by the group appears to have held back admission numbers at a number of UK's top institutions, including our own. Figures due to be released in November are expected to show that 176 courses here at the University of Birmingham have vacancies, suggesting that the grade requirements are perhaps too strict. We asked some university students for their views on the shortfall of students.
Yes, I do think that the grade boundaries are appropriate because I think there's a limited amount of spaces, so they should be filled by people who deserve them.
If there are empty spaces, it seems more valuable for the actual student body to have more people filling them, because you have a more diverse range of students then, and apart from empty spaces, that's not helpful for anyone.
I think we do have an academic standard that needs to be maintained, but I don't think that they should just set it as AAB until they've considered the grade boundaries changing every year with the exam boards.
This shortfall could of course be attributed to the higher tuition fees now in place, meaning that fewer students are applying to university. Considering this, perhaps the AAB grade barriers are too selective, especially with the country still having to cope with less than favourable economic conditions. Earlier, we spoke to James Phillips to get his views on this issue.
I think that the fact that there might be less numbers in classes might actually be in some ways beneficial to students in that they have more contact time. But at the same time, I think it really limits the amount of discussion in a class. You may only have a small minority of opinion within that class. I'm doing a politics degree, so therefore discussion is really appropriate for my classes.
The release of official figures in November will allow further examination of this issue, and the discussion of the appropriateness of the Russell Group's strict AAB criteria for admissions will surely take place at some point. This is Jack Garnett reporting for Leading Stories.
Hopefully, further examination of this issue will be carried out by the university when official figures are released by the coalition government in November. And now for the weekly sport update with Stuart Levy.
Thanks, Alice. First, let's have a look at our big match coverage.
It's a Sharp. Flicks it inside, Tonan holds it up. It's flicked in. Oh, Sharp's in the corner, but she can't quite make it in. It came back to Alice Sharp, who was in acres of space. She just didn't get a full purchase off the onto the ball. And Thompson down wide for Durham now. They've got two attackers in the box. Shot away for Durham. It's a fantastic save from Polly Oakman. The shot came in, flashed in, and she pushed it away for a fine save. Bit of delay here as Durham set themselves, but now Sharp's ready, and so are the umpires. Here comes the whistle, and in comes the ball. It's flicked out wide. Now the shot away. They're going to try and work it in there. Looks like there was a foot in there from Durham. This will be another short corner, I'm sure. Sharp immediately angling towards that way. I think that must be. Oh no, it's been called against. Has it been a call against Birmingham? It's going to be a called a long corner. Well, extraordinary decision. I think that came off a Durham foot, but either way, nothing coming of the short corner.
Cards with three of the Birmingham girls that are about to come on. A triple substitution here for Birmingham.
Olivia Chilton certainly wants to come on for Birmingham. Highly recognisable. But this is a strong run from Philippa Lewis now. She's got a couple of teammates inside. One of them is Tash Nichols. Lewis goes down in a heap, but she's lost the ball now. And Toman will look to do a bit of defensive work now. She looks to relieve the pressure. She's got three girls around her. She'll have to use them, but she coolly does it and finds actually Sharp immediately behind a nice turn from Toman. Now Sharp will take it away. Good stick work from Sharp. She's got Aitchison up ahead. She couldn't control it. Here's Mortimer down the left-hand side for Durham. She's got Lewis with the ball now. Lewis cuts inside. Fantastic stick work from Lewis. She looked for Tash Nichols inside her, but Nichols couldn't quite get there. Oakman has to get a foot in just to clear it, so it didn't go out for a long corner. Now it's Holly Payne. Holly Payne flashes it away, only as far as Mortimer. Mortimer inside to Elliott. Elliott now swings inside looking for Lewis. Can Nichols get on the end of it? So it comes into a crucial thing. Now here's Philippa Lewis. Can she get a shot away? All kinds of space, but hustled out well by Rebecca Van Verkel, and that's fantastic, crucial defensive work. And now Watkins will look to clear their line. She's good stick work from Watkins. Slightly tense moments for both sides. Who can Dunford now for Birmingham running forward. She's got Chilton up ahead. Dunford is Chilton in the box. She gets a shot away. It's flashed away. Broombar gets a good power to it, and she clears her lines. Fantastic defensive work. But Birmingham with all the pressure now. Sharp, she hustles it out. Now she breaks away. She's got Payne outside. Cross comes in from Birmingham, but it's cut out by Durham, and now they'll clear their lines. Crucial stick comes in from Watkins. Good work. Now she looks inside for Sharp. Sharp will come away with this. Bit fortuitous there was Sharp, but here comes Dunford now. She's got teammates up ahead. One of them is Alice Sharp, but there is the final whistle. It's a fascinating game here at Bournemouth, but it's finished 0-0.
Sport Focus now, and this week we take a look at Jiu-jitsu.
Hi, my name's Maria. I'm a member of the University of Birmingham Jiu-jitsu Club. I'm club captain and I'm a green belt. Jiu-jitsu is primarily ancient Japanese martial art involving throwing, knowing your opponent's point of balance and where it is and how to best exploit that. And we do a lot of locks, so wrist locks, arm locks, and as you progress through the grades you do head locks and defences from weapons and things like that. In a competition, you basically go up against people of the same grade as you. So in a competition, I'm a green belt, I would go up against the other green belts. And you're basically given points based on how good your throwing is, how well you execute it, and then your points are compared to the rest of the people competing, and then you're awarded according to that. We train twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays. Mondays 8:30 till 10 and Thursdays 8 till 10. And new people of any kind of fitness level, anything at all, are welcome to come along. We have 2 free sessions, so they can just come and see if they like it and then decide whether to join up or not after that. People who are already grades, who have graded elsewhere around the country, are welcome to just jump straight in at whatever level they feel comfortable at. In a few words, Jiu-jitsu is basically an ancient Japanese martial art that helps you build your confidence, your ability to protect yourself and make new friends.
The interesting world of Jiu-jitsu there. And now for the scores. A lot of results to tell you about this week. 7-1 was the score in both men's badminton matches played. The first triumphed by that score over Manchester, while our seconds and thirds met each other, with the seconds showing their superiority with the victory. Our basketball teams were unlucky to start their season with defeats, with our men's firsts coming the closest to taking something out of their game, only losing to Coventry firsts 79-69. Football now, our men's and women's seconds both secured draws against the Nottingham seconds and Cambridge firsts respectively, while our men's thirds thrashed Coventry seconds 4-0, and our women's firsts slipped to a 3-2 defeat at the hands of their Durham counterparts. In golf, our men's firsts drew with Northumbria, while our seconds, thirds and fourths all achieved wins, the Loughborough seconds, Nottingham Trent firsts and Warwick firsts being their opponents. 8 hockey scores for you now. Our men's first lost 1-0 to Durham firsts, the seconds lost 4-1 to Nottingham Trent's first team, our thirds, as you saw, were involved in a scoreless draw in Warwick, while our fourths were able to clinch an impressive win against Oxford seconds, 2-1 their score. Our women's first also faced Durham, drawing 0-0, our seconds beat our thirds 8-2, our fourths meanwhile beat our rivals Loughborough 3-1, Loughborough also sending out their fourth team in that match. Victories for 4 of our 5 lacrosse teams, with our men's seconds the only team to lose, although they put up a great fight in a 4-3 loss to Loughborough. A very low scoring game that, when you consider that the women's seconds beat Northampton 24-0. Now there's another all-Birmingham clash, in netball this time, our firsts triumphing 49-16 over the seconds. The thirds, in action against Nottingham Trent seconds, lost 39-28, while the fourths won their fixture 43-29 over Wolverhampton. Victories for the 2 rugby league sides, 28-18 for the firsts against Northampton and 30-22 for the seconds against Lincoln. In Union, the men's firsts were on the wrong end of a 48-0 scoreline against Nottingham Trent's second team. The seconds and the thirds fared a lot better with victories over Staffordshire and Coventry. Our women's teams were also successful, 69-14 their score in a win against Edinburgh. A few squash results, the men's seconds beat Lincoln 5-0 and the thirds beat Cambridge's firsts 3-2. The women's seconds beat our thirds 4-0. Our table tennis sides both triumphed over visitors from Nottingham, our firsts beating Nottingham seconds 17-0 and our seconds beating Nottingham Trent seconds 11-6. In tennis, our men's firsts and seconds both achieved perfect scores, 12-0 victories against Coventry seconds and Bedfordshire seconds respectively. The women's firsts also beat Coventry, triumphing 10-2 over their seconds, while the seconds went down 12-0 to Warwick's firsts. And that's all for this week in sport. Back to Alice.
Thank you, Stuart. We'll be back next week with the issues which matter most to students on campus.